Good day. My name is Eric Gosden. For this week, I've chosen the Politics of Military Rule in Brazil from 1964 to 85 by Thomas Skidmore. Here's a picture of Thomas Skidmore years ago. The overview will go through the book summary, the biography of the author and biases, the background of the book, and the three book reviews. The book chapters, actually, it's 8 chapters and all going through from the origin, the 1964 revolution in Brazil, up to the new republic prospects for democracy. Overall, as a book summary, we all know that the largest and most important country in Latin America is Brazil, and is actually the first to come to the military coup that struck the region in 1960s. And also early 1970s. Actually, in this authoritative study, Skidmore offered the first analysis of more than 2 decades of military ruling, from the overthrow of João Goulart in 1964 to the return of democratic civilian government in 1985 with the presidency of José Sarney. This is a sequel to Skidmore highly acclaimed Politic in Brazil from 1930 to 64. In fact, this volume explored the military rule in depth. If you look at the Skidmore biography, very interesting. Actually, Skidmore was a prominent historian of Brazil and professor emeritus at Brown University. He actually passed away on June 11, 2016 in Rhode Island. He left a rich intellectual legacy in his book and articles that analyze politics, society, and culture in the 20th century Brazil. Skidmore actually born in Troy, Ohio on July 22nd, 1932. Professor Skidmore graduated from Denison University in 1954. He received a Fulbright fellowship to study at the University of Oxford, where he earned a master's degree and met his future wife, Felicity Hall, the daughter of Robert Hall, chief economic advisor to His Majesty's government from 47 till 1961. Professor Skidmore moved to Brown University in 1988, where he was appointed the Carlos Manuel de Cespedes Professor of Modern Latin American History. He taught in the Department of History and was affiliated with the Department of Portuguese and Brazilian Studies. He directed the Center for Latin American Studies until his retirement in 2000. Skidmore served as president of the Latin American Studies Association, as known as LASA, and the New England Council of Latin American Studies. In Brazil, Skidmore became the personification of the Brasilianist or Brasilianista, a term usually coined as a pejorative reference to North American scholars who work in Brazil and allegedly misunderstood the country, history, society, culture, or had preferential access to people and archives. Actually, Skidmore embraced the term and was warmly received by his intellectual counterpart because of his noted love for the country and his culture, his sharp mind and wit, his genial personality, and his impeccable scholarship. Some of the Skidmore popular books. If you look at the background of the book, in this book, Skidmore seeks to define and explain the political process caused by the military refusal to immediately empower the civilian lawmaker, as it had done after all previous operations since 1945. Some question that Skidmore is asking throughout his book is such as what kind of government did they establish when they tightened their grasp in 1965, 68, and 69? What kind of opposition arose? Skidmore spent a long time discussing General Medici presidency from 69 to 74, which showed the national security state in its finest form. Many academics were turned off by those years, both because of the government blatant repression and because of its seeming success. However, understanding the democracy of the new republic required thorough understanding of the authoritarian era, both repression and armed opposition from which it sprang. A Flynn 1991 review is actually pretty good. It stated that this latest work built on and adds to that now well-established tradition scholarship sympathetic to Brazil and its people, drawing on the research done by colleagues while working alongside them to try to understand the often sometimes dramatic political history of the fifth largest country in the world. It's actually in large part Skidmore's study of the period of the 64 to 85 from the military coup to the return of formal civilian government, which is an attempt to explain these persistent disparities after 21 years of military-backed government, which provide unprecedented centralized power to those who directed the economy of the country. Work 1992 also stated that Skidmore persuasively demonstrate how the long-term upward trend of post-war economic growth has been thwarted by balance of payments problem and inflation, all of which are intricately linked to the credit supply. As basically, like Brazil has been borrowing until 1982 when credit dried up following the Mexican collapse, and Brazil began to export capital back to its creditor on a far less favorable term. Despite these unfavorable circumstances, the transition to democracy occurred, but the credit crunch lasted a decade, which was novel and unexpected for Brazil, which had selected the American model of development. McCann, 1989. This book investigated how and why the 1964 coup d'etat occurred. Skidmore had no idea that the period of military rule would last until 1985, but in the years since, he has remained a close observer of each stage of military rule, allowing him to write a sequel that truly portrayed the sense of meaning of Brazil's horrific military era. Skidmore connects the political process to the economy, which set records for rapid growth from 67 to 74. To the worker struggle, which must not be sacrificed on the altar of Brazilian security and development, and to the Catholic Church increasingly active role as a voice of criticism and restraint. He is especially adept at demonstrating how these factors support the liberalizing effort to the return of Castelistas. Ernesto Quezel from 1934 to 79, and João Figueiredo from 79 to 85. Whose program of relaxation, distancial, and opening abertura were strongly resisted by the hardline officers. Here's my work, the work cited. And that completes my presentation. Thank you very much.